Margaret Walsh had been cleaning houses for 37 years. Her hands were weathered, her back often ached, but her heart remained gentle. At 62, she'd seen wealth and poverty, joy and sorrow, all through the windows of other people's lives. She worked for Mr. Harrison Blake now. He was the CEO of a technology company, successful, wealthy, and utterly alone. The penthouse apartment where Margaret worked 3 times a week was immaculate. Sleek marble countertops, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Everything modern, everything expensive, everything cold. Harrison was 48 years old, tall with graying hair at his temples and tired eyes that rarely met anyone's gaze. He wore expensive suits and worked 16-hour days. He ate takeout at his desk and slept in a bedroom that looked like a hotel room. In the 2 years Margaret had worked for him, they'd barely exchanged 20 sentences. But Margaret noticed things. She noticed the photographs tucked in a drawer, a young Harrison with his parents all smiling. She noticed the piano in the corner that was never played. She noticed that he never had visitors. No friends, no family, no one. It was late October when Margaret learned Harrison's birthday was approaching. She'd seen the date on some mail. November 3rd, a Tuesday. She thought about it while she cleaned. Thought about this lonely man in his perfect, empty apartment. Thought about how birthdays should matter, even when you're grown. That evening, Margaret stopped at a small shop on her way home. She bought a simple card, cream-colored, with a watercolor painting of autumn leaves on the front. Nothing fancy, just gentle and warm. At her kitchen table that night, she sat with a cup of tea and thought carefully about what to write. Her handwriting was simple, slightly shaky now, but each word was chosen with care. Dear Mr. Blake, I hope you don't mind me saying, but I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. 62 years on this earth have taught me that everyone deserves to be remembered on their special day. You work so hard. You've accomplished so much. But I hope you know that your worth isn't measured by what you achieve. It's measured by who you are. I see your kindness in the way you always say thank you, even when you're rushed. I see your consideration in the way you leave notes when something needs attention. These small things tell me you're a good person who deserves happiness. Life can be lonely sometimes. I know this myself. But please remember, it's never too late to let people in. It's never too late to find joy. Wishing you not just a happy birthday, but a happy life. With warm regards, Margaret Walshon. The morning of November 3rd, Margaret arrived at the apartment as usual. Harrison had already left for work. He was always gone by 6:30. She did her regular routine, vacuumed, dusted, changed the linens, cleaned the kitchen that was barely used. Before she left, she placed the birthday card on the kitchen island, propped against a coffee mug where he'd surely see it. Then she gathered her things and went home, not expecting anything, not needing anything, just hoping quietly that it might bring him a moment of warmth. Harrison returned to his apartment at 9:15 that evening, exhausted as always. He loosened his tie, set down his briefcase, and walked to the kitchen for water. That's when he saw it. The cream-colored card with autumn leaves. He stared at it for a long moment before picking it up. His name was written on the envelope in careful, slightly shaky handwriting, Mr. Blake. He opened it slowly. As he read Margaret's words, something shifted inside him. His throat tightened. His eyes burned. When was the last time someone had wished him happy birthday? When was the last time someone had seen him, really seen him? He read it again, and again. Your worth isn't measured by what you achieve. It's measured by who you are. It's never too late to let people in. Harrison sat down at the kitchen island. The card rested in his hands, and for the first time in years, maybe decades, he allowed himself to feel the loneliness he'd been pushing away. He'd built an empire. He had everything money could buy, but he had no one to share it with. No one who cared if he came home. No one who remembered his birthday. except Margaret, his housekeeper, a woman he barely spoke to. She had remembered. The next morning, Margaret arrived at her usual time. She let herself in quietly, expecting the apartment to be empty as always. But Harrison was there, sitting at the kitchen island with a cup of coffee, still in his suit from the night before, though his tie was gone and his collar was open. "Mr. Blake?" Margaret said, surprised. "Are you all right? You're usually at the office by now." He stood up slowly. His eyes were red-rimmed, but there was something different in his expression, something softer. "Margaret," he said quietly, "may I talk with you for a moment?" "Of course," she said, setting down her bag carefully. They sat together at the island. The morning light streamed through the tall windows. "I read your card," Harrison said. His voice was rough with emotion. "I've read it about 20 times. Margaret's weathered hands folded in her lap. "I hope I didn't overstep, Mr. Blake." "Please," he said, "call me Harrison." She nodded gently. "You didn't overstep," he continued. "You gave me something I didn't know I needed. You saw me, and I can't remember the last time anyone really saw me." He paused, struggling with words that didn't come easily. "I've spent 20 years building a company, chasing success, proving myself. And somewhere along the way, I forgot how to live. I pushed everyone away. My parents passed away while I was too busy to visit as often as I should have. Friends stopped calling because I never answered. And I convinced myself I was fine. That work was enough." Margaret listened with the patience of someone who'd lived long enough to understand complicated hearts. "But you're not fine," she said softly. It wasn't a question. "No," Harrison admitted. "I'm not." "May I tell you something?" Margaret asked. "Please." "My husband passed away 12 years ago," she said. "Thomas. We had 43 years together. After he died, I thought my life was over. I stopped seeing friends, stopped doing things I enjoyed. I just existed." She smiled slightly, remembering. Then one day, my daughter sat me down. She said, "Mom, Dad wouldn't want you to stop living. He'd want you to honor his memory by finding joy again." And she was right. Margaret looked at Harrison with kind eyes. "We get one life, Harrison. One chance to be here, to connect with people, to matter. Money and success, they're fine things. But they can't hold your hand. They can't laugh at your jokes. They can't remember your birthday." Her words settled between them like a gentle truth. "It's not too late for you," she continued. "You're young still. You have time to build a different kind of life. One with people in it. One with warmth." Harrison's eyes filled with tears. He didn't try to hide them. "I don't know how," he admitted. "I don't know how to start." "Start small," Margaret said. "Start with one person, one connection, one step toward something real." That conversation changed everything. Harrison began leaving work at reasonable hours. He started saying yes when colleagues invited him for coffee. He called his estranged sister and slowly rebuilt that bridge. He even started taking piano lessons again, something he'd loved as a boy. And Margaret no longer cleaned in silence. Harrison made sure he was home on her working days. They'd have tea. And through it all, Margaret was there. Not as an employee, but as the friend who'd seen him when he was invisible, who'd cared when no one else did, who'd reminded him with a simple birthday card that he mattered. On Margaret's 63rd birthday, Harrison threw her a surprise party. Just a small gathering, her children, her grandchildren, a few close friends, and Harrison himself. When she walked into his apartment and saw them all there, she pressed her hands to her face and wept happy tears. "You remembered," she whispered. "Always," Harrison said, hugging her gently. "You taught me that everyone deserves to be remembered." That evening, after everyone had left and it was just the two of them cleaning up, Margaret and Harrison sat together on his balcony, watching the city lights twinkle below. "Thank you," Harrison said quietly, "for the card, For seeing me, for changing my life. Margaret patted his hand, her touch warm and certain. We saved each other, she said simply.